Mangwanani Mwalelepo Fukenjani Kekwas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You're joined by Ashwin Berry and Glenn Orashipura. How was your weekend, Glenn?
My weekend was great. I know yours was great.
Yeah,
or
just solid.
Anytime Arsenal wins, eh?
You know how it is. You know how it goes. 2-0, top of the table. I can take it.
I guess this is a good way to get into the festive season. You know
Yeah, I mean, we're close. We still have Liverpool on the 23rd. That can definitely decide the texture of Christmas.
Hopefully it's a great win. Getting into what we can expect in today's broadcast, Ukrainian councillor throws grenades at meeting, wounding 26. Chad holds divisive post-coup constitutional referendum, and former South African President Jacob Zuma won't vote for ANC. Will also be crossing over to Zimbabwe, speaking to Talen Gore, who'll be filling us in on the latest news there. And a little bit later, Ari Hohat will be bringing us the latest in the sporting news. Do stay tuned for these and more news on Africa Good Morning.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the
150. The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
In our top stories, a Ukrainian village councillor threw hand grenades at colleagues at a meeting, wounding 26 people, National Police said on Friday. The incident took place Friday morning at the headquarters of the village council Keretsky in western Ukraine. A video posted by police on Telegram shows a man dressed in black entering the door of a council meeting during a heated discussion. He then pulls 3 hand grenades from his pockets, releases the safety pins, and drops them on the floor, triggering explosions as those at the meeting screamed. As a result, 26 people were wounded, 6 of whom are in grave condition, the police statement said, adding that medics were trying to resuscitate the man who threw the grenades. Many Ukrainians have access to weaponry due to the war in Russia. Russia.
Devastating. Moving on to our next story, Chad holds a referendum on a new constitution on Sunday that looks unlikely to mend deep divisions between the junta and opposing groups that have fueled a political and security crisis in one of the world's poorest countries. The military authorities have called the vote as a vital stepping stone to elections next year, a long-promised return to democratic rule after they seized power in 2021 when President Idris Deby was killed on the battlefield during a conflict with insurgents. The proposed constitution would establish autonomous communities with local assemblies and councils of traditional chiefdoms, among other changes. But some of the political opposition and rebel groups have called for a no vote or said they will boycott the poll. They question the independence of the Election Commission and reject the new constitution for not engaging with their wishes, including for federalization. Now, decades of instability and economic mismanagement have hampered development in the oil-producing Central African country, where nearly 40% of its 16 million people depend on humanitarian aid.
Now, former South African President Jacob Zuma says he will not vote for the African National Congress and is creating a new political party. Zuma was the country's president between 2008 and 2018. He said it would be a betrayal to campaign for the ANC of current President Cyril Ramaphosa. Zuma's new party is named Umkhonto weSizwe, meaning Spear of the Nation, which is the same name as the former armed wing of the ANC. Now, in an incendiary statement, he said the new people's war starts today. The only crucial difference is instead of the bullet, this time we will use the ballot.
In our next story, the Economic Community of Central African States announced on Friday that it was maintaining the suspension of Gabon, a sanction imposed following the overthrow of President Ali Bongo Ondimba by the military last August. ECCAS, which has recognized the peaceful and inclusive nature of the Gabonese transition, has decided to maintain the decision to suspend Gabon's participation in community activities until constitutional order is restored. It said in a communique at the end of a summit in Giblo, Equatorial Guinea. Now, Equatorial Guinea, Angola, Burundi, Central African Republic, Congo, Sao Tome and Principe, Chad, Cameroon, and Rwanda were represented at the summit. In addition to Gabon, which is currently suspended, ECCAS also includes the DRC. Now, the lifting of this sanction would have represented a first step towards reintegration on the international stage, almost 4 months after the coup d'etat that led to condemnation from Western capitals and Gabon's suspension from the African Union.
And Rwanda's government has relaxed operating restrictions for bars, nightclubs, and other entertainment establishments during the festive season. The restrictions on all non-essential services were imposed in September by authorities to curb noise pollution and public disturbance. Entertainment businesses were operating under shorter opening hours, restrictions that were unpopular with hotel, restaurant, and nightclub owners. But the state-run Rwanda Development Board now says that between 15 December and 17 January, bars can stay open until 2 a.m., with restrictions removed on Fridays, weekends, and public holidays. The end-of-the-year festive season has begun, and the government of Rwanda wants people to celebrate and enjoy, the board said in a statement on Thursday. Do you think Namibia can anticipate such
I hope not.
a statement? I mean, no. I mean, of course, the bars and nightclubs goes long, but I mean, alcohol sales.
Yeah, I know.
There's a chance to get that.
I hope we get a little bit of that.
I don't think there's a chance. Those have been our top stories. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
All right, it's time for us to talk to Talent Gore in Zimbabwe. Talent Omkase.
Okay, we can Mamkase Africa.
Tamuka Hedu. Let's get into your top story. There was a lot of ruckus last week in Parliament as CCC members were told to see themselves out forcibly.
Yes, Opposition Citizens Coalition for Change legislators today on Thursday ejected from Parliament after they broke into protesting the swearing in of one of their recently elected colleagues, in particular ZANU-PF Pedzisai Scott Sapukanya. Speaker of the National Assembly Jacob Zuma further sanctioned the CCC members of Parliament for the next 4 sittings and ordered that they check out of their hotels. All CCC members were told, except 2 newly sworn-in members. The protest started after Mudenda made an announcement on the swearing-in of Sapukanya and others following the December 9 by-elections, and several CCC members then broke into a song saying Wakasaruzwa Nani, which means elected you, and also they started singing this particular song, claiming that Ndimima Kauraya, which means you are the ones who killed. Mudenda later sanctioned the CCC legislators for their unruly behavior. Well, apparently this is not the first time that the Citizens Coalition for Change members of Parliament have been banned from Parliament. In October, anti-riot police was called in to eject them from protesting the recall of their 15 colleagues by self-proclaimed Interim Secretary General Sengezo Sabangu. So this is the second time that the members have been sanctioned, and they are going to be sitting out of Parliament for the next 4 sittings they will not be in parliament. And they were protesting this because Sakupkanya, who won in Mabuku for ZANU-PF, was elected, and he was now is the one who's now standing in, who's going to be the member of parliament for that particular area. So they claim that he partook, or he had he partook in the recalling of the members of parliament, and also he partook in one of the CCC members being killed. He was killed because he's the one who was going to represent the members of parliament for CCC. He was going to represent CCC in parliament, so he was killed, and they are claiming that he had a hand in his killing. So now they are protesting and whatever, and they don't want Sakupkwana to be in parliament. So right now they've been sanctioned out of parliament by the speaker of parliament, Jacob Zuma. So for the next 4 sittings, they will not be in parliament.
All right, truly interesting developments. Now, moving on into your next story, Finance Minister is forced to revise the wealth tax plan and the toll and passport fees. What's going on there?
Yes, on November 30, 2023, Finance Minister Mtuli presented his 2024 budget, and in that he was saying that the passport fees were going to go up from 120 as of now up to 200 United States dollars. So in Parliament on Thursday, he was forced to back down in those words, and he made revisions of his tax proposal. Members of Parliament that road toll fees would go up by 50%, backing down from the 150% increase he had announced in his budget on November 30. The minister also said that the prices of the standard passport to 150. He had proposed that the passport would go to 200 United States dollars. So right said that it would just go to 150 United States dollars for 120. He also said that the 1% wealth tax on homeowners was reviewed to affect only second homes, not primary residents. Apparently, Mtule in his proposed budget, he has said that all homeowners will be taxed a 1% fee if the house costs 100,000 United States dollars. Each year, they would get taxed, and they would pay 1,000 United States dollars from that home. Now he has said that this will only affect those people with 2 homes. This will affect primary residents. So for those who have more than 1 houses, for those who have more than 1 property, they are the ones who are going to be taxed. But for those who only have 1 homes, who have 1 house in which they reside in, those are the ones who are not going to be taxed. Mutuli is saying that some people, they are making a living out of rent house. So he suggested that those with more than 1 houses, they are the ones who are going to be taxed, and not those who only have 1.
All right. Thank you very much, Talent, for bringing us the news stories from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
So it's good having you on Africa. Good morning. We're going to go straight to the weather and then return with economic news. In economic news, the World Bank's Fund for Poor Countries plans to provide a credit of $750 million for clean energy projects in Nigeria to increase to electricity in Africa's most populous nation, the International Development Association said on Friday. The bank said that more than 85 people lacked access to electricity in Nigeria as of 2021, with households and businesses reliant on expensive diesel and petrol generators. It said that distributed access through renewable energy scale-up projects will be financed by the International Development Association credit and provide access to new or improved electricity supplies to more than 17.5 million Nigerians.
Truly a step in the right direction. In our next story, Mozambique, one of the world's poorest countries, on Friday approved setting up a sovereign wealth fund with billions of dollars of revenues from new natural gas finds and other resources. Parliament voted by 165 votes to 39 to set up the fund that will be based on more than $91 billion in revenues that the government estimates the country will earn from natural gas in coming decades. The law lays down that 40% of annual resource revenues will go to the Sovereign Fund of Mozambique and 60% to the state budget for 15 years. Afterwards, there will be a 50-50 split.
All right, let's head to the indicators just before Adi joins us with the sport.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
All right, it was a beautiful weekend for sport. If you're an Arsenal fan, if you're a Liverpool or Manchester United fan, you might as well have spent last night, I don't know, meal prepping for the week, making sandwiches, because what a boring game. Just kidding. Adi Hochad, how's it going?
Very good morning, Ashwin. Yes, 0-0. That's not good to watch those games, but it's significantly, like you said, it's Arsenal still leading, and they had a win against Brighton of 2-0. And it is Arsenal on top with 39 league points, 17 games. That is Liverpool now 1 point behind them, 38 points. Also Aston Villa after beating Brentford, also 38. And then on 34, it's Manchester City, dropping points again, a 2-2 draw against Crystal Palace, sorry. And so that was a bit surprising. So not good form for Manchester City at the moment. And Tottenham Hotspur 33 points. And then Manchester United now in 7th position, 28 points. So that's not a good weekend for Liverpool and Man United, like you say. This coming weekend, a massive game, Ashwin. It is Saturday the 23rd. It's Liverpool hosting Arsenal. So that will be a massive game for them and for both those teams. And it's also, let's go to rugby. I'm here in Strathspey, a little bit of wind behind me, around me here. It's good to be at a nice place, but it's a bit challenging sometimes with the wind. Let's go to rugby. It is firstly the Rugby Championship. It is a Championship Cup that was played. Good result for the Stormers, beating La Rochelle and that is Mani Libbok. He was the hero there for the Stormers, winning kick at the end of the game, going to beat La Rochelle, defending champions, 21-20. That was celebrating just after a try before that conversion. Lyon beat the Bulls by 1.29 to 28. So it's a big game coming up on the 23rd. We talk about Liverpool and Arsenal. That's big. This coming weekend, it will be a massive game for the Stormers that host the Bulls in Cape Town. Also, there the Sharks in action. They showed that they can still, they were in trouble. They lost against the Cheetahs in Bloemfontein. So that was not a good result for them in a Challenge Cup there. And then quickly also Exeter beat Munster 32-24 and Leinster beat Sale 37-27. Just briefly, also cricket news. It's a few, mostly 50 over ODIs that was played, and also a test match that was played. India beat South Africa quite convincingly, but let's go to this match. And for Nathan Lyon, he got his 500th test wicket, and that was against Pakistan. Bowled out Pakistan for 89 runs in the fourth innings. That's Australia winning by 360 runs, so a massive win for Australia in Perth. And then it was India that embarrassed, it was a humiliating loss for South Africa. They lost by 8 wickets, just scoring 116 runs at the Wanderers in the 50-over game, 117 for 2. India reply winning by 8 wickets. And then Ireland beat Zimbabwe by 8 wickets. It was Zimbabwe 197, and then Ireland 204 for the loss of 3 wickets. So Ireland winning by 7 wickets there. And just to conclude, the golf, it was maybe looked like a little bit behind me. It's Mauritius Open that was played. Louis Oosthuizen winning again. He won last week the Alfred Dunhill tournament, and Louis Oosthuizen coming out winner in the Mauritius. That was the last round of 3 under par and 17 under par. So back-to-back wins for him. He didn't win in 5 years. Now he's won back-to-back. He's playing on the Live Golf Initiative, so good for world ranking points. And that's a lovely heritage golf course where they played. So good golf by Louis Oosthuizen. That's the international sports news. So that's what happened all over the weekend, Ashwin and everyone. No matter what happened this weekend, coming weekend, Ashwin, we stay friends. Big game, Liverpool, Arsenal. May the best one win.
Certainly. There's no need for either of us to ruin the other's Christmas. We'll be back with the highlights.
To another exciting episode of Iran Work Talk. We bring jou liefst weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle mondlik gaan byt.
Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. Let's get into the highlights from the broadcast. Ukrainian councillor throws grenades at meeting, wounding 26. Chad holds divisive post-coup constitutional referendum. Former South Africa President Jacob Zuma won't vote for ANC. World Bank to provide $750 million for clean energy projects in Nigeria.
And with that, we've come to the end of our broadcast. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning. From me, Glenn Orashipura.
And me, Ashwin Berry. Suraja Kanaka.